So the other day, I received a very interesting question from an aspiring game dev. They were asking me whether they should go for skill depth or skill breadth. And skill depth versus breadth is not really a binary. In fact, it's a spectrum. Second thing, it really matters what your goals are. Generally speaking, a good professional is T-shaped. There's one thing typically that they excel in, and for the rest of the stuff, they have a fair understanding of it. That allows them to be a well-rounded professional. For instance, you could be a wonderful 3D character artist, and you could be semi-decent with environment art, but you don't need to be the best at it. Any knowledge that you have about it, it only helps you. So with regards to whether one should opt for skill depth or skill breadth, it again depends on your goals, and it depends on what stage of your career you're at. If you're at the very beginning, it's worth exploring other fields so that you can get a feel of how they are and whether you'd excel in them. Games can be a very taxing field, and you can be expected to work overtime. This is an industry-wide problem, so it's not specific to indies, it's not specific to AAAs or anywhere in between. So loving what you do is incredibly important, and being good at it is even more important. You can invest some time into gaining a baseline understanding of what those fields contain. You could look into design, you could look into art, you could look into development. Just look around and understand whether you would enjoy doing that for the foreseeable future. People transition and change their roles all the time. It's not easy to do so. You don't necessarily need to think 20 years ahead or 30 years ahead. If you stick to your own field, it would be beneficial to you in the longer run, but you don't need to burden yourself with the responsibility of making your entire life's decision right now. Just think of the next 5 years, the next 10 years. That's good enough for now. And pick a field. If you're unsure, look into these specific disciplines and see which one suits you best. If you're from the third world, or if you want to break into AAAs, the big leagues, having some sort of specialization, skill depth tends to matter a lot more. So you might find very specialized roles over there, like a vehicle physics programmer. Of course, there's room for generalists everywhere. However, when you're looking towards the bigger leagues, they value skill depth a bit more than they would value skill breadth. If you're targeting freelance and indie roles, skill breadth becomes incredibly important because each member is carrying more weight than they would typically be expected to. And the more you know, the more you're valuable. Indie teams and freelance teams can have very strong budget constraints, and they might not have a lot of people, but they're still very ambitious. They need fewer people to fill in more roles. And the more skills you have, the more diverse your skill set, the greater chance you have to land those gigs. If you're going down the solo dev path, that's a very daunting one. Again, that's a no-brainer. Skill depth is not as important as skill breadth. Next up, let's say you've been in the field for a few years and you're looking to take the next step. When you're moving towards seniority, both skill depth and skill breadth start mattering more and more. You may be required to coordinate with other departments, you may be in charge of people, you may be managing people, and in order to communicate with your juniors, you need to understand the technicals very well, which means skill depth. And if you want to coordinate with others, you need to understand what they work on and what you require from them in order to successfully deliver the desired experience, which requires more skill breadth. Now, there are exceptions to all of these situations. You'll find generalist roles for larger teams. You'll find specific roles within smaller teams. It depends on the goals, it depends on the project, it depends on a lot of circumstances. But if you want broader advice, you pick a path and you make a decision. Just to reiterate, there's 5 different places you could potentially be at. The first one being early in your career, where you haven't made a decision about what you're going to be specializing in. Number 2, you're targeting the big leagues, you're targeting AAAs, you want to go and work with those guys. It means skill depth can matter a little bit more. The third one is the indie or freelance route, in which skill breadth significantly matters more. Fourth one is solo dev. You've got to do everything yourself, so skill breadth. And the last one, post early career progression. You want to take the next step, you need to know more about everything and also be really good at something. That's all. See you guys.